Good morning, President Hakainde Hichilema. Good morning, President Cyril Ramaphosa, the EFF leader Julius Malema, and also Mwenda Kasonde, EFF leader Zambia. I want to actually stress the fact that I promised to read the letters that I wrote to all the presidents, and beginning with what I wrote to President Hakainde Hichilema. But really, I want to reintroduce the purpose of why I wrote the 90 days prayer, the 90 days national prayer, restoration national prayer to Hakainde Hichilema. When I wrote this book, based on the messages that were written to President Sata, to President Lungu, they rejected to use that opportunity. Now it has been offered to Hakainde Hichilema, who also apparently seems to be rejecting. And you see, one thing that I want to explain, if you, Hakainde Hichilema, and the rest of all African presidents and the opposition leaders who fail to understand the purpose why God gave me these visions, the purpose why God warned of UPND government coming in partnership with the Pope. There are things that we must accept a reality, that the multi-party democracy that everyone is calling to say, it's not a democracy, let's defend the constitution. The democracy one that we are enjoying today, it's a tool of colonialism. It has been there to defeat our thinking that we have democracy, but it is meant to divide us, to destroy us, to make us enemies. This multi-party democracy, it has made people of one family raise and say, me, I'm supporting Zuma. Another one says, me, I'm supporting Cyril Ramaphosa. Me, I'm supporting EFF leader Julius Malema. One house with 2, 3 different parties. And eventually, those people start fighting. Sometimes, even wives and husbands, they divorce based on the political parties. Not that. Secondly, every political opinion on social media, it is invaded through investor empowerment. The social medias that we are listening to today, they are not there to build Africa. They are there to feed Africa with what Donald Trump called fake news. It is good that since 2019 or 2018, when I went to UN, as I was fearing for my life, when my farm was destroyed, the bag that had been bought, grabbed. The other one again, the bag also taken from me because of being a foreigner without rights in exile. I've never sat on a TV. Everything that I'm talking about is not something that I receive on TV. The only news that I can read is from Facebook. and YouTube. So, news, from the time that I've been watching news, it is meant to brainwash us. It is giving us an education that makes us think that we are living in a democratic country and that everything will be well, when they are digging our natural resources. They are not reporting to us where they are taking them, how much they make, and they are having holidays to paying what? To paying of VAT. I want to say that in everything that is happening, it is something that our children and the politicians, they are not aware that the media is having an opinion of the oppressor. They are not aware that the business which has been placed into private hands, they say privatization and investors, is something that is well calculated to manipulate us. Thinking that there is progress in putting all companies in the private sector, whilst the government is left without anything but to borrow. So this donor aid that was introduced by Chiluba, the first multi-party democratic government in 1991 in Zambia, is what has brought the African countries to their knees to go and borrow from Donald Trump, from France, from Britain. And the same donor aid is the what has brought the control that we think we are independent from, whereas we are not independent. The phones, the social media has brought a lot of illegal behavior in our children. Today, the world knows that sex is business. Even in the parliament, they are saying you should not call anyone a prostitute, but you should call that that person is a sex worker. Sex worker? When everything is done in the name of civilization, when everything is done in the name of modern age or new age, whereas it is destroying our morals, and it is called a human right. Abortion is called a human right. It's no longer murder. It's a human right. Marrying a man to a man is a human right. I want to say that in brief, when you see all this chaos, all this what is happening, we start fighting because of all these smaller things. They are removing our attention from building our economy based on our natural resources, because the enemy knows to say when these things are not happening simultaneously, they will listen to what I'm talking about, to say Zambia must own their natural resources, South Africa must own their natural resources. The pound in UK, it has strength based on gold, but they don't have gold mine. All these Commonwealth countries, Zambia is a Commonwealth, South Africa is Commonwealth, Ghana is a Commonwealth, all the countries who are called Commonwealth countries, where our passport, we have the freedom to travel. You should know that those countries are under England. the gold in all those countries belongs to England. That's the reason why once a president is elected, has to go for approval. Furthermore, Vatican is taking control of all the countries that are under England. Queen Elizabeth. I'm not saying these things because I want people to be happy, or I want to offend people, or I want to prove anything. I just want to prove that God spoke these things before they happened. And the consequences of this thing has led to the death of the 6 presidents in Zambia. I'm speaking this not because I hate President Hakainde Hichilema. I'm speaking this because I want to save him. You know what? Regardless of everything that a person can do in opposing what God has revealed, you are not going to win against God. You will never win against God. God has actually revealed these things for us to know that there is something that is coming that I want to share with you. Sorry, I'm feeling it's very cold. Let me cover myself. So what is it that I'm trying to say? The purpose of my visions and dreams was brought to me to warn Zambia and Africa. Particularly, my writings can be defined in Zambian context mainly because God would speak to you on the things that you are able to see and understand. And God expected that the first president, Kaunda, was supposed to announce everything that I was telling him to other African leaders, but they kept the information to themselves. But in his last days, when his health was failing, and when his memory was deteriorating, on a video that I watched, he could struggle to recall of mentioning Hakainde Hichilema. He only said this man who was a party from Southern Province, until the journalist would wait and reminded Hakainde Hichilema that yes, Hakainde Hichilema, this young man is going to divide the nation. That's what Kaunda said. How did Kaunda say that? He was actually now trying to echo what is written in this book, The Airport Trap. I want to say that if Kaunda did it at a time when I was talking to him, Zambia was not going to lose all these 6 presidents. And even now, as I'm speaking, when I'm warning about the fate of Hakainde Hichilema, even Hakainde Hichilema cannot believe because everything is well. Nothing seems to be dangerous. I've warned about his arrest. I've warned about his death. I want to repeat to say, whenever I say I have warned, I'm actually speaking that God has warned him because I am the spokesman of God. Rather, my language would use to say I, because I've put myself to be a point where I'm the spokesperson of God. Before I could read the letters, critically, I want you to understand what was written 2001, precisely pointing to UPND government as the last stroke. When I say the last stroke, meaning that Kaunda is in the ground. He has received this stroke. Chiluba, he has received this stroke. Manawasa, he has received this stroke. Rupia Banda, he has received this stroke. Sata, he has received this stroke. Lungu, he has received this stroke. Though, with Lungu, Hesh, the vision that I saw, he had wounds all over the face, hands, every part of his body. Today, the news regarding Lungu and his death, it has wounds. Too many wounds. And it is not by accident that some they are saying Lungu is not dead. Some they even saying Lungu, they might, why they don't want HH to see his body or to come closer to his body. Even the PF Tonse Alliance executive, when they came to South Africa, they were not shown the body of Lungu. Therefore, raise a suspiciousness to say, no. It must not be believed that he is dead. So the wounds that I saw on Edgar Lungu has a lot of things. When a person dies, it must be quiet. This is the first funeral where if a person dies, usually, if a person dies, people talk about good of him. Even if he was a murderer, no one will stand and say this one was a murderer. Even the church will come and praise that person who is dead, even if they know that he was a what? He was a murderer. When a person dies, even if it's HIV AIDS, they know that she was a prostitute. They won't say that he's a prostitute, this person. They'll actually say, God has received this person. But not with Edgar Lungu. It took time, 3 days, for President Hakainde Hichilema to announce his death. And not on television, but on Facebook. It has taken time for his burial. Not because there is no burial, the grave is not there. The grave is already there waiting. Not only one grave, but 2 graves. In South Africa, another grave. So these 2 graves, one is for Hakainde Hichilema, one is for Edgar Lungu. Can you imagine? Whether if I was asked to come to discuss this issue between these 2, I could purely pray that Edgar Lungu should be buried in Zambia. Perhaps it could be long for Hakainde Hichilema to come and to be buried in Lungu's grave here in South Africa. Because the last stroke, if Hakainde Hichilema fails to resolve this issue by taking what this book is talking about, I don't see him lasting long. And I don't see him having a peaceful retirement or enjoying the labor of his hands. Because the God that has been speaking through me, he has been so precisely. Let me read what I was trying to refer to. The last chapter of this volume is chapter 16, where I said the last stroke of the vision. Can anyone really trust anyone nowadays? You may have heard some frustrated individual asking this question, or you may have asked the same question yourself when emotionally troubled over the turn of events in your life. Undeniably, there is a worldwide lack of confidence in a vision or revelation. Oftentimes, this lack of confidence is justified as people cling to satanic revelation, for they want to believe things they can see, as did King Saul, who believed the revelation of Samuel the prophet, who was dead by a wizard at Edom. The foolish king failed to believe and utilize revelation by the prophet before his death. Now, out of desperation, the king went to ask a wizard to bring the prophet from the dead, that he may consult the prophet. It was an easy thing to bring the past revelation to the king, and the king talked to the spirit resemblance to Samuel the prophet. The truth is, the wizard cannot foretell the future, as proved by the magician or astrologer or Chaldeans to the king Nebuchadnezzar when he demanded to know the future. I want to believe to say the introduction of this subject tells it all. Today, many prophets, they talk about the past. They talk about things that are written in this book as their own source of revelations. They talk about HH winning the elections as their own founded revelation. But it was written here in 2001. They have these books in their shelves, and they come and say, me, I see HH is going to win the election in 2021, when everything was written here. And the present chaos was written here. Let's go paragraph by paragraph. Let me go to paragraph 3 on chapter 16, page 132. I said, the last stroke is a revelation yet future, and it stands to be proved by anyone who have come in contact with this book. The revelation is about the Pope's government in waiting reviewed. This is page 133. Is about the Pope's government in waiting reviewed unto me as supporting the Open Palm government. I met the Open Palm party leader on 28th November 2001 at his house after filing his nomination at the High Court. The purpose of this meeting was to review the last stroke of 2nd February 1990 vision, in which I saw the fall of former President Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, the rise and the fall of FTJ Chiluba, and the rise of the papas through John Paul II Karo Watila. And upon revealing the vision of December 1999 concerning the Open Palm Party that has Vatican support, he did not hesitate to admit the fact. He said, yes, the Pope is behind me and my party. Look, it was this vision that led me to tell Anderson Mazoka that UPND was supported by the Pope, and he accepted. Why this support? This support is the source of all these problems. Let's listen to this. The vision of 2nd February 1990, the last part of the rise of John Paul Karo Watila, is explained and interpreted in the vision of December 1999, in where I saw a lot of people walking to the polling station, and the other side were vehicles trying to cross the flooded river. It was a good struggle for the vehicle to reach the polling station, as others remained stuck in the mud as they failed to cross the flooded. As they failed, there's something here that is missing. One of the white vehicles. They failed to cross the river, but only one white open van managed to cross the river. Which was that? It was the UPND party that managed to cross the flooded river. You know, when the flooded river is when everyone wanted river water, is people. Okay? Many political parties were formed to overcrowd the prophets to challenge it, but UPND was still struggling, and it managed to do what? To cross. Here, in the vehicle that managed to cross a flooded river was a bald-headed man who was beckoning and pointing to the reason and portraying a symbol of an open palm, giving signal to the people walking alongside the road to the polling station, telling them who would be voters to vote for the open palm government. So now, let me go to paragraph 3. One thing I must clarify here is the 2nd February 1990 vision. I saw images and the names of the people involved in this great exodus to the time of the mark of the beast and to the end of the world at the coming of Jesus Christ. But the 1999 vision, I saw only the symbol of the party or government in waiting that shall work hand in hand with the Pope to establish global religion. So what is it that UPND has brought in, which I named as a government that was waiting because the river was flooded? Too many political parties. There came in Michael Sata. There came in fact, before Michael Sata, there came in Levi Mwanawasa. There came in Rupia Banda. There came in Michael Sata. There came in Lungu, fighting to rule. But HH has to make it to this point in time. He is the president in replacement of Anderson Mazoka. But the purpose of the Pope is to establish a global religion, of which, when you read this book, Africa's President Ibrahim Traoré plus 54 prime ministers or governors, whatever way, which is the roadmap to economical freedom. I actually wrote here, but if it be of God, ye cannot overthrow it, lest haply ye be found even to fight against God. So the author is Evangelist Masuka. So in this book, there's a letter that Ibrahim Traoré attacked the Pope, attacked the Vatican, in line with this prophecy. When I'm saying Zambia must stand with Ibrahim Traoré, I'm actually saying God revealed to me that Vatican has a wrong agenda in politics. It has an agenda to establish a global religion through this multi-party democracy. And this global religion is going to fight the freedom of worship. Therefore, let me go ahead with the reading. Last paragraph, I said, it surely takes courage, faith, and confidence in God to declare to someone that he is the next president from the opposition. I'm very much aware of the other counter revelation made by Pastor Nevers Mumba of the NCC. This is National Coalition Party or National Council Coalition whatsoever. I've forgotten the actual meanings of the Nevers Mumba Party. That God has revealed to him that he will be the next president. Is he the next president? No. He refused when I visited him to say embrace the EFF manifesto of Julius Malema. That's what is working according to God's revelation. I further read in the media where it says politics must not be under socialism. He's talking about Christian nation. What is Christian nation? Is the Pope. Whosoever talks about the Christian nation is talking about establishing a global religion against God's warning. Somebody else Let me continue. Maybe let me explain this way. I'm not against Christian nation, but religion is personal with God. Christians are called Christians by their individual affiliation to God, not by the constitution. Jesus did not die for Zambia. Jesus died on the center of the whole world. Grigol is the same kilometers to the east, same kilometers from Golgotha. Golgotha, where Jesus Christ was crucified. The cross, from the cross, same kilometers to the east, to the west, from north to south, same kilometers. So when someone is there claiming to say the Pope is not a factor in all this confusion in the world, he is the factor because he has planted his agents in politics, in social media, in religions, all these persecutions. Let me proceed by reading here to say, somebody else has declared that God has shown him that General Mianda is the next president. Is he the next president? Never. So, the prophecies which were coming, they were coming to overcrowd what God revealed to me. As it is today, there are many prophets that are coming in on board, and they have a very wide media audience to mislead people from why God has been declaring the government of HH and the purpose of why the government of HH is fighting the opposition is based on these revelations. Let's wait and see who is on God's side. When I'm talking in reference to Siawan, people say that the prophet must not fight. I'm not fighting. I'm simply drawing your attention to examining the truth. Who is saying the truth? Why is HH a president? Why is Siawan supporting HH? People must know that they are paid prophets that wants to misguide the people, that wants people to support regimes that are working with the Antichrist. The government of UPND is working with the Freemason. The government of UPND is working with the Vatican with the agenda to lead the Africa to force worship, to destroy true worship. And when God is revealing this, other prophets, they are there praising Hakainde Chilema as the best. Other bootlickers, political cadres, they say Hakainde is right when God actually foretold about the Hakainde's leadership under the Pope as the last stroke. The one on the Lord's side shall be established. This is 34. Okay. The one on the Lord's side shall be proved true. Page 34. Let me hold it this way. This is the last stroke to strike the nation. I'm referring to UPND as the last stroke, and is the last president alive among the 7 presidents. For I believe that the vision shall come to pass no matter how long it takes. It shall strike, and it shall strike for itself. It shall speak for itself. I took courage and confidence in 1990 for me to stand and tell the people in the church meeting in Makeni, as I foretold the next president that I saw him in a vision, that a short man with a round face. I believe you know this vision. I was mocked. Let me rush to paragraph 4. I said the major reason of meeting the Open Palm government leader was to remind him of the fate of the alliance with the Pope. When I say the fate of the alliance with the Pope, and for him to prove that there is God in heaven who is in control of the earthly affairs, just like in the days of Daniel and Elijah. I invite the nation to come with me to Mount Carmel to see the power of God of Elijah. For I have no good news about the rise of the open palm government, but the news is that the rise of power through the alliance and the support of the Pope shall bring persecution in the country and against the commandment-keeping church. So, if I said the coming of the UPND in power shall bring persecution in the country, what do I mean? What did God meant? That's my question. Are we not seeing persecution? Are we not seeing people fleeing the country under Hakainde Chilema in the name of fighting corruption? These people that have been fought for corruption, they are not corrupt. I'll refer to Zuma. If there's a government that South Africa was supposed to appreciate, it was the government of Zuma. In Hebrew, it was not easy for a police officer to enter Hebrew. The 2010 World Cup, Zuma declared no crime. Everyone who stole, he was closed once in jail until after the World Cup, until after the African Cup. That gave sanity to Joburg. But I want to say that regardless of what Zuma wanted to bring, the AN7 television, which he wanted to bring news, he appeared before the commission for Zondo Commission as corruption. The window which was put on his house, it was actually raised as an extra expenditure corruption, that the president says he didn't want this window. He wanted a bigger window. So this window went beyond the budget of the government. So Zuma stole the money from the government. Is that the corruption we should be spending our time in courts to listen to? No, the crow that was built on Kandla extent is corruption. That's where a wise person would see that these corruption cases all in Africa are made because these systems, Britain and America and all these, they have planted what they call investors. When they come here, they have planted media technicians that comes here to come and control our media, to come and control our politics, to come and control everything. And when they bring those issues, then you stand up in the street, crucify Zuma. Zuma must step down. Also, even my very own president, EFF, Julius Malema, stood in parliament, crucify Zuma, let him step down. He was being used at a certain stage without knowing, to say the corruption allegations that they inform him, they are going to be brought back also in his government. If he's not aware that all these fights in governments are not only fights, they are made to divide us. I laughed when I heard about money found under the mattress in President Ramaphosa's farm. It was when Ramaphosa said he was actually removing the people surrounding him, the intelligence around him, trying to replace him with people that are going to feed him the truth. I was even surprised to hear that there's a bomb that is planted by the ICC and trying to scare the government of South Africa. All these things are brought by the colonial masters to destabilize us, to bring false information, to alarm the country. Even what Siawan said, no, Hakainde, I have a vision that Hakainde must place soldiers around Zambia because I see war coming. There are people, they want to enter the borders to come and fight Hakainde Chilema. What prophecy is that? One, he doesn't even mention where those enemies are coming from. Two, he doesn't even mention why are they coming. Three, he doesn't even mention what is the purpose of God in that prophecy. Just for the sake of alarming the nation. In order for Hakainde to start persecuting the opposition. They used the same. When Sata was shot, they said it was Hakainde Chilema. On the other side, they were sending people to my residence to persecute me. To a point that I fled the country. They are using false information to alarm the president, to make the president uneasy. They are giving the president false information of corruption. When it goes to court, those people, they are found innocent. What next? They bring issues like the window, as I was referring to Zuma. With Chiluba, they brought shoes, designer-made shoes. Chiluba was a short man. He wanted at least long shoes so that at least he can abrogate his height. But those are the shoes that he was making, his personal designed shoes using government money. What foolish politics. Chiluba used branded, he used to wear branded suits written with his name. I can go to City Market and put a name on my suit. But when Chiluba did that, that was the evidence brought before London High Court, being aired from London. Imagine London High Court bringing judgment via satellite to Zambia to show us shoes and suitcase of suits. That is what Chiluba stole from the government. How foolish are Zambian president who cannot realize that we are being used against our former presidents for nothing. Being used against our former ministers for nothing. As long as a minister refused to sign a law for homosexuality, that minister is going to be arrested, because the same people that are giving the ministers the money to campaign, the same people that are giving our former president money to buy vehicles, their personal things, they are the same people that are going to review those monies they have given as proceeds of crime. All right. I hope the supporters of Hakainde are listening, and Hakainde himself is listening. Pope is bringing persecution against the country and the commandment-keeping church. You might not see the church. SDA is not a commandment-keeping church. It keeps a wrong Sabbath. So the persecution that I'm undergoing in exile is because I'm insisting on true commandment-keeping, and hence I'm suffering that persecution. I'll go to volume 2, page 88, the open letter to President Mwanawasa. I'm doing this in order for Hakainde Chilema to understand that I'm not an enemy to him. I'm not an enemy to Roman Catholic. I'm not an enemy to anyone, but I'm just a messenger. And I wrote this before the government was established. And I warned about him coming before he became president. Page 88. What is the title? The open letter to Dr. Levi Mwanawasa, Patrick Mwanawasa. This letter was written 12 May 2008, 2007. And it was published in this book 2008, before the death of Mwanawasa. From the introduction, on paragraph 3, I wrote, I write to remind you of the letter I wrote on 2nd December 2002, 4 years ago. That this vision of the frog that climbed your feet in the letter has met its fulfillment, and God is calling for your intervention in the line of forgiveness one to another and promote love towards each other. If this is done, you will not hit your authority 3 times. Listen to this. I said I write in line to promotion of what? Forgiveness one to another. If this is done, you are not going to hit your throne 3 times. Hitting the throne 3 times, I'm referring to the vision where I saw him addressing a meeting. He lifted his legs up. He hit his chair 3 times, and he had a wound and he died. So now, he was going to avoid death if he did what I wrote in this book, according to God's revelation. Let me proceed. If this is done, you will not hit your authority 3 times, and you will not eventually hurt yourself as revealed or predicted in the vision. This can also mean hitting the throne of God 3 times. First, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda has shot down God's work in the line of calling for a national revival, despite opening the doors for the rescue operation team. I said Dr. Kaunda opened his door to receive me in line of this vision, but he could not take action. He kept quiet. He closed his mouth. I remember paying at ZNBC, where there was a program, the Revelation Hour, where he was supposed to be in Lungu'S to declare the warning that was given to him, to the world. He did not show up. He shot it down. This is what I meant. So even all these presidents that have been inviting, they've been shooting down God's invitation, because when they have money, they think what I'm talking is hallucination or schizophrenia. This can also mean hitting the throne of God 3 times. First, I think I'm repeating. Let me proceed here. Secondly, Dr. Chiluba hit the throne of God by not accepting God's revealed word in advance. By shooting down the revelation concerning the rise of the open palm government by rigging the 2001 election. You can defend yourself in the eyes of men, but you can't hide from God. Thirdly, if you refuse to call for a national revival in the crusade of fighting corruption, in line with the national reconciliation, and promote love of God, and that made Jesus to come and die for the most wicked thief Chiluba. So the same appeal that I've been giving to who? To HH in regard to Lungu's family is the same appeal I gave to who? To Mwanawasa. And the people during Mwanawasa, they were saying, you want Mwanawasa not to fight corruption. I said, this is not corruption. Because I saw beyond what the newspaper was reporting against Chiluba. And when I called Mwamba, who is busy with his page also, asking him if I'm lying, I was with him at Melissa supermarket there in Kablonga. When I said I've brought an open check, I wanted to whisper to Chiluba, to tell Chiluba to say, don't fight this case in court. This is what is happening. Review this to the nation. He refused to take me to Chiluba. He was busy recording me. I slept there. There's also Melissa police post. I reported myself on that day. I'm waiting to hear from Chiluba. He refused. What happened? Chiluba died as a criminal. But if he listened to me, Chiluba was going to be alive today. He was not going to die. If Mwamba opened that door for me to see Chiluba and whisper what God is telling me when I sleep by night or when I'm seated during the day by revelation, he was not going to die as a criminal. Because God revealed to me all these confusions. Let me proceed by reading here. I'm reading for who? For Hakainde Hichilema. Let me start from this paragraph again. Thirdly, if you refuse to call for a national revival in the crusade of fighting corruption, this national revival is the same with the 90 days national prayer that I'm talking about, which I said, the shocking truth, open letter to Hakainde Hichilema on this book. It's a national revival. It's a national revival. To Hakainde Hichilema, I said 90 days national restoration prayer. This fight on corruption, it must be understood based on God's revelation. But if you say you are using the law, you are fighting corruption on a fake allegation against Edgar Lungu's family, against all these political leaders, J.J. Banda, and are in exile. And also Mwamba is in exile. The family of Lungu, they are in exile. To tell you the truth, if anything, Edgar Lungu died as a refugee. All these stories surrounding him is because he has been what? Persecuted. So, here I read. And even in line with national reconciliation, promote love of God that Jesus came to come and die. That made Jesus to come and die, even for the most wicked thief, Chiluba, who has no one to defend him. He is left without a choice but to be used by the evil spirit to bring chaos in the country, in this country. Then that can mean shooting the throne of God for the third time, and that will be the highest crime before God. He came to save the world of sin through love and forgiveness. Love and forgiveness is the foundation of the kingdom of God. So now, I said the chaos that Chiluba has brought when he was addressing the press at his residence. He talked a lot of things, attaching the first family, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, to Zamtrop allegation in the court, attaching everyone to that money which he was given as flash funds. So now, I said, instead of preaching forgiveness, there is chaos. This is the same drama that is happening between Hakainde Hichilema and Lungu. There's no difference. It's repeating itself. Then I said, God's appeal to you is that look at the cross and you will see Jesus. You see Jesus' love to the thief on the cross, waiting to die as a condemned criminal. Yes, I said waiting to die as a condemned criminal. This prophecy was fulfilled. He died as a condemned what? Criminal. So this was written before Chiluba died. 2008. The excitement and the drama that surrounds the cross, that surrounded the cross, is not different with the Chiluba thief case. Listen to this. And one of the malefactors that railed on the cross, saying, if you are the Son of Christ, thou be Christ, save thyself and us. So this is where even me, I'm being mocked. Okay? I want to quickly mention to say the mocking and everything that happened on the cross is what is happening on Edgar Lungu. It's not different. Oh, our former president has been linked to corruption, not by Zambians, but by the colonial masters. It's on record. UPND received funding from European Union to fight corruption. How can UPND defend the use of that money which they are pocketing in their pockets without linking the enemy of the Western Europe, Edgar Lungu, to them? He claims that he never arrested Edgar Lungu. Edgar Lungu had no freedom of movement. That's what forced him to come back into what? Into politics. When your wife is being arrested, are you not arrested yourself? If your wife is spent in the cells, are you not in your cells by mental torture? So, Hakainde Hichilema is being used. So, what is it that I was saying? On this paragraph 3, I said, no one is free from political corruption. So, I mentioned the fact that even Hakainde himself is not free from political corruption. Today, I'm receiving media reports that there are people who died in the copper belt there at the mines. They were killed. Because of what? Let me read the last thing as I summarize. Because of government corruption. Is Hakainde not linked to the death of a Zambian who went to dig copper or whatsoever minerals because they are hungry? Because the economy under Hakainde Hichilema cannot provide for them. There's no employment. These mines are in the wrong hands. And Zambians, without money, they are not allowed to dig. Why can... If Zambia has concern on empowering of youths, they were supposed to say, can you go and identify the mines and dig, and the government is going to source market for you? Why not doing that? But those mines are belonging to Queen Elizabeth, to Europe. That's why pound is more stronger than any other currency, because it has ownership of the gold. Zambia must be in ownership of the gold. My last warning to Mwanawasa was, don't take chances. The line of mercy is drawn in your authority. It's time to prove the power of the dream. I challenge you in the name of the Lord to avoid it by doing what saith the Lord, to prove it by shooting it down as your jacket mate Chiluba did. To shoot down the revelation third term is not God's blessing. And it's a criminal trespass. It's criminal to trespass God's line of mercy. This is page 89. I close my books. In summary, my appeal to African presidents is that politics, which is called multi-party democracy, it's not our blanket to cover ourselves. It's a blanket of division. Let's look to Ibrahim Traoré and claim our natural resources back to us. and ask Putin to give us the technology to process them, so that America, Britain, France, they can come and buy to us on 1-1 exchange rate. That will solve all these divisions that we are faced with. Number 2, all corruption charges on these politicians that are arrested for nothing apart from refusing to take orders from the Vatican, refusing taking orders from the IMF, refusing to take orders from America. Then they are branded as thieves. They are not thieves. PF government was calling for restoration of government companies, and that's why they are suffering. Proceeds of crime, you have no evidence, but just to see a person say, how have you built this house? This house is worth 1 million. You are earning 500,000. How can you build a 1 million house in 7 years? So let's calculate. You mean that a salary is the only thing that a president was surviving for? Why are you not telling us the truth? Why are you not telling us that they were traveling allowances? Why are you not telling us that you have been receiving oiling from donors in order for them to come and invest here? Why are you not telling the truth? You want to pin people based on their salaries when you know that politics is a game of gambling where one receives a lot of enticement by anyone that visits him for investment. Politics is a game of corruption. Hence, I've been saying, Christianity that aligns itself with politics, it's a corrupt Christianity. The declaration of Christian nation is a blinding, it's a blanket that they want Africa to be praying too much, pray too much, pray too much, pray. When you are hit by a gun, pray and say that I cannot lift a gun because me, I'm a Christian. God is going to help us. No. That is wrong. I'll repeat again, it's wrong. If Peter can remove a knife to cut the ear of a person who came to arrest Jesus Christ in defense of the Creator. You know Jesus Christ is the Creator. But Peter had to carry a knife as a weapon to defend his master, the Creator. And as today Christians, we are told, no, we cannot carry guns. We cannot do this because we are Christians. Who told you that? If Peter can carry a knife. Today Christians, they are condemning Abraham Traore's government, and because he used a gun, he used a barrel of a gun to take power, so we cannot follow him. You are a fake Christian. I want to tell you, if you think like that, your mental capacity thinks like that, you are fake. The whole Old Testament, God was sending his children of Israel to fight nations and to conquer them. Were they using prayers or they were using weapons? The Old Testament is not completely dead. We learn from it. When it comes to apply it, we apply it equally to our enemies. I listened to Patrick Lumumba, our professor in Kenya. He says Africa has a secret weapon, a wood. I thought that hit my mind. What is that wood that is referring to? I came to realize of Jacob. Jacob, when his uncle persecuted him, he wanted to marry the right wife he loved. He loved and cherished. They told him to say, sleep, we are going to give you your wife at night. They used the trick. They brought him the first sister, who was not as beautiful as he desired. In the morning when he woke up, he says, what is happening? I didn't work for this one 7 years. I worked for this younger sister. They say our tradition, the way politics is say, Constitution says we must remove all the benefits of the president when he comes back to what? To politics. Meaning that even when he is sick, you cannot do anything as government because he is your enemy, isn't it? Is your enemy. When one is an opposition, he must be viewed as a what? As an enemy. Is that politics? You can say we are in politics. Away with that politics, please. It's thinking, rubbish, creating enmity. Hakainde Hichilema was supposed to pay for the expenses of Edgar Lungu. Hakainde Hichilema was supposed to be visiting Edgar Lungu when he was sick. Hakainde Hichilema was supposed to pay the food expenses. But these politics, they are dividing us. When I said this democracy is a fake democracy, you tell me that I'm mad. You even send people to come and persecute me even in the country of Islam. And you even influence United Nations to arrest me and to kill me in a mental hospital because I'm revealing what this democracy is doing wicked. What kind of democracy? One comes back to politics as a former president. Zambia cannot help him anything. Even a cup of tea on his deathbed, nothing. Even to announce his death, nothing. Then you stand up and say, he's not dead. He's not dead. Bring him. People are disappearing. They are not known where they are. In Hakainde's government. Wellest, there is AFRICOM. What is AFRICOM doing? There's no crisis. We don't need the American army in Zambia. Let them pack and go. If you are Hakainde Hichilema, you are sincere, you want to save us. What are they doing? Can you tell us every day what do they do? To monitor us? The time when I was talking, the night that Kasonde Mwenda was surrounded by the GRM, the GRZ cars, the government cars. It was the day that I spent too much time talking to him on phone. It was the day when I was whispering to him the wisdom of politics and its foolishness. So after hearing, because I know that my line is tapped, you are listening to everyone who I'm talking to. That's when you want to go and threaten him. You touch him, you are touching me also. You touch everyone else who believes in God. Hakainde Hichilema. Even if 12 million people in Zambia, they tell you that you are right to do what you have done to Edgar Lungu, you are not right. You are wrong. Reconcile with the family of Edgar Lungu. I've told you to say, call me. If you have nothing more to talk to the family of Edgar Lungu, or what you want is the court to defend you, you are wrong. Let's discuss these issues. Give yourself to God. And God is going to preserve your life. These people that are surrounding you with the army, it is the same army that is going to kill you. These people are surrounding you with the journalists. It's the same journalists that are going to kill you. These people that have given you political advisors are the same political advisors that are going to kill you. When you have finished to kill their enemies, they finish you also. They use you to kill your enemies. And one enemy is Edgar Lungu. He refused to allow homosexuality. He refused to get loans from where? From IMF. They are controlling us with the loans. I've watched one young man here in South Africa has posted, say, even these social grants that are given to people, they are a means to control the government. They are a loan which the government will be paying back. South Africa, wake up. Listen also to the voices of the young people that are speaking in line of this liberation struggle. Africa, must unite for the benefit of the church. Don't think that I'm speaking as a politician. When there's good politics that gives you freedom of worship, it will give me a chance to preach a pure Sabbath that is not kept based on a weekly cycle of Gregorian calendar. The true weekly cycle is from the moon cycle. That's a message that needs to be grounded under the United States of Africa. May God bless you. Thank you.